Hello, YouTube. Okay, got a good one for you today. For you late intermediate or early intermediate jazz and gospel pianists. How you doing? Mike here in Detroit. Uh, Today I'm going to take you into a new territory that you're all are going to face. So I want to refer back to my intermediate series. I hope you have gone through that because you learned these kinds of voicings. That's a 2 minor, or we're in the key of C. We took the time to learn this voicing in every key. Okay, so I want to kind of touch on that, review that a little bit, but I don't really need. I took 4 videos to go through that. So that's kind of prerequisite. There we learned that if we looked at a D minor 7 chord, right, and we added a 9, and we took away the root, we have a F major chord. So we kind of made up a rule. Minor in upper extension becomes major. Minor becomes major with a root. So we go to the third of the chord, 1, 2, 3, whatever chord that is, and we play a major chord. And I told you that there are 4 inversions of this major chord. I call 2 of them money chords. Here's one of them, and here's the second inversion. Here's the other one, and that's the chord I was playing at the beginning of this video. I don't know why it took me 4 videos to explain that. Only took me 2 seconds to explain it. But hopefully you kind of have this. So to connect a D minor to an F major, okay, hello guitar players. You got a bass player's playing this, then you don't need to play this. See how you're so if you want that flavor, then you would play something like bass players got that, and you play some kind of F chord. Now that's true with major chords as well. Let's take a look at it. C major 7 with a 9, lose the root. What do you got? An E minor 7 chord. So you go to the third of the chord. Now major becomes minor. So if the lead sheet says major, go to the third of that chord and flip it. Now major becomes minor, right? Or minor becomes major. Now we dealt with this 5 chord because there's so many different ways. We played G7. There's our favorite way to play it, mine anyway. That's a G7, sharp 5, sharp 9. I'm going to use that again here in this video. Some people don't like that chord, so a G7 can be played with a sharp 5, can be played like so, or can be played like so, can be played with a diminished. That's a flat 9 sound. The 7, the dominant chord, you can manipulate the 5, the 9, as long as you have your tritones, as long as you have your guide tones, there it is. So we're adding to these guide tones. I love this chord. Okay, now that's the quick review. But these kind of voicings work in solo piano work because you're a bass player. Your left hand's got their bass. Maybe you're playing a F. in solo piano arrangements, or reading a lead sheet, and you're the only one there. You're the solo pianist. But you sooner or later you're going to be in a situation that somebody else is playing with you. They got that. So all you got to do is play this. So today we're going to take a look at left hand rootless voicings. And they're really, if you understand that review I just did, then it is not going to be too tough. So let's go back to the key of C and let's play a 2-5-1. We're going to go, and why, okay, before I do that, why do we need to prepare as pianists for this left hand thing? Because we're hanging out with this, and all of a sudden, well, there's two reasons. One, I told you, there's a bass player, so let the bass player have that. The other reason, you need your right hand for a solo. Idea. So you're like a one-man band going on here. So we're playing a 2, 5, and a 1, 2 to 6. I'll show you how I derive these voicings in just a minute. So like anything else, you kind of have to get these left-hand voicings on lock, like you don't even have to think about it. Maybe you went here. I'll explain, don't worry. Okay, that's why we need, because we're going to be in a situation, either we have a bass player and or we need our right hand to play melody or improvise. Okay, so how do we come up with these voicings? And on the piano, in jazz, I usually punch them. Okay, so let's go through maybe a couple of keys, and I hope this explanation will help you so that you can work out the voicings. Doesn't matter what key you're in. So how did I get this for a 2 chord? Remember I told you that there's my D. The lead sheet says D minor 7. And my thinking says, well, D minor 7, every time I see a D minor 7, I'm thinking F major 7. Now, I need to figure out a way to get any chord I want to play into this area. Somewhere in between there, somewhere in there, somewhere in there. So that's my landscape. Some people say this is my landscape. It just depends. Now, there are exceptions to this, which I will explain. I explain that, as my grandmother used to say. I explains that. But this is your target area between those two notes. So clearly that fits, because there's my landscape and here's the bottom. Don't go too much below that, right? So now there's a couple things. I need an F major chord that fits in that landscape. Remember, if you went through my earlier teaching, I played a D minor like this. Well, that's outside the landscape, and that sounds fine if you're solo piano. And it's not that far out, so it might work. You might like that. Depends on what piano you have on your keyboard, Are you playing Rhodes? Or that depends on a lot of factors. Let your ear be your guide. But here's my go-to for a left-hand voice. Now I'm going to give you another rule. You notice that I'm playing this F major chord in root position. That means this finger is going to move. Now, follow me on this. I'm playing an F major chord, but it's really a D minor chord, right? But if the F major chord is in root position, in any key, it's the first finger that's going to move down a half step. Right? And then the E minor is going to be in root position. If the F major is in root position, so is the E minor is going to be. Both of them are going to match up. That's in any key. I'm helping you work this out, not only in C. I'll show you in another key as well. But remember these little clues, these little rules, whatever you want to call them. If I'm in root position in F, it's the first finger or second finger that's going to move down a half step. Obviously, the bass player is going to be moving to a G. And then everybody's going to slide over to a E minor in root position. So we got 2, 5, to a 1. Now I don't know how you practice. I like to practice around the circle of fourths. So I need, let's go to the key of F. So I need a G minor. There's a G minor 9. There's the root. What do I got? A B flat major. It matched up with my rule I told you earlier. But that's outside my safety zone or my sonic zone. So I'm going to play it in second inversion. Remember those two money chords? 99 out of 100, I'm going to play it either here or here. So this one falls in the sonic zone. This one doesn't. Although, sometimes the song is bumping, you may want to go here. Okay. So anytime I'm in second inversion, okay, follow me on this. So now we're playing a G minor. Or the lead sheet says G minor, but we're really playing a B flat major. Anytime we're in second inversion, it is the pinky that's going to move down a half step. Any key, by the way. If you see that second inversion, it's the pinky that's going to move, and then we're going to go to a F major. And F major is A minor, because it's the third of the chord, but it too will be in second inversion. Second inversion, pinky move, second inversion. Let's go back to C. Root position. First, second finger move, root position. Second inversion, now we're in the key of F, pinky moves. And then second inversion, A minor. Okay, so, you see my right hand sitting around doing nothing. So, it's a good chance, especially for those of you who haven't mastered all your scales, your major scales, or your pentatonics, or whatever you're working on. Do whatever you want in your right hand. It's the left hand we're trying to solidify right now. A lot of musicians try to drink at a fire hose okay, so right now our practice focus is getting these left hand voicings down. So, key of F. I don't care what you do in your right hand. In your right hand. So I'm just running up and down the F scale in my right hand because I don't want to think about that. I want to think about my left hand. Later on, you're going to add some more to your right hand, especially when you get your Left hand so that it's boring. Gonna add some, maybe some chromatic notes. Okay, that's the sixth chord. I'll get to that in just a minute. That sixth chord takes you right back here to the two. Okay, so let's work with these couple of keys, because either I'm going to be in, as is in the key of C, I'm going to be in root position in the D minor chord. Root position means this finger's going to move, and then we're going to end up on a C chord, which is, in my mind, an E minor 7, which blended all together gives you that C minor 9 sound. Now what's this chord? That's the sixth chord. That's an A7 sharp 5 sharp 9. How did I come up with that voicing though? Okay, glad you asked. Because if you went through my intermediate series, you learned how to play an A7 sharp 5 sharp 9 like this. There's your right hand. So, well, that's clearly outside my sonic zone. No problem. I take this note and this note. I take that note and this note. Here's the whole chord. That G and the C is coming down, and it's going to end up. I'm playing it with my right hand. Let's play it with the appropriate. So it's either, so that puts it in the sonic zone. She said, well, I don't even know how to play this. Well, you didn't go through my 4 video intermediate series. It is an A7, starting from the 3rd, A7 sharp 5 sharp 9. You check me on that. So that A7 is a secondary dominant. It's a pivot chord. It gets you right back to this 2 chord. 5, 1, 6. Now what you want to do is get your drum machine ready to go. Let's see if I can make that work. Low, so let's crank it up a little bit. That's it. Now here we go. Okay, so you got it. And you know, in these videos, I do that all the time. I know I teach you. I play it a couple times, but when I do that, I want you to play it 40 or 50 times until it's like muscle memory. So 2, 5, 1. You heard me do this. Minors like to slide. Just slide them around. Especially when it gets a little boring. So you don't have to do that at first. Just know that that E minor is hooked to this C bass. This F minor is hooked to that D. You see a D on the lead sheet, you don't even think about it. Go right to F major. Doesn't matter if you're on guitar, you can do the same thing. You see a D minor, you play F major. Especially when there's a bass player around. And you know what? Sometimes, even if there's not a bass player, it just makes let's forget the bass player. We're thinking 2, 5, 1, but no bass. Rootless chords sound good by themselves. did this come from? Where'd that come from? So I went 2, 5, and you're supposed to go to 1, right? Supposed to go to 1. But maybe you don't want to go to 1. Maybe you want to go to 3. Maybe you want to go here. Well, let's figure out E minor. There's an E minor 9. Right? Teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. Take away the root, what do you got? You got a G major 7 over E bass. Following me? Alright, put it in the comments, huh? What do you, what? I hope this is making sense. This is how you derive these rootless voicings. You can clearly see it because I have it in my right hand. But lose the root. Let the bass player have that. You got this. You got this. That is your 3 E minor chord. So here we got 2, 5, 3, 6. Nope, that was wrong. There it is. So you want to run that 50 times. 5, 3, 6. So I need my computer drummer here. So go to the 6. So when I get to the 5, I can either target the 3 chord or I can target the 1 chord. So the 5 chord, I don't really think about too much. I don't really think, not in this context. Once I have the 2 chord, I just got to know which finger is going to move. Root position, this is going to go down half step. By the way, this is a G13. Or is any 13 that, okay, so let's take this one. Now we're in B flat, but I'm in a G minor. But the B flat is in second inversion. Remember I told you that if it's in second inversion, now it's your pinky that's going to move. That's a C13. The name, the quality of the chord is going to remain the same. We're just in a different key. Now we got this. This. There's that D7 sharp 5 sharp 9. So now I have 2 keys, so I can run around in the key of F. What if I wanted that 3 chord in the key of F? Well, let's see. F, 2, 3, right? Now I need A minor. Let's find out how to find it. So what you don't want to do is just copy what I wrote down. I want you to know how to find it, because this video would be very long if I did this in all 12 keys. So I'm doing it in both keys. So here's C that puts the rootless chord in root position, and here's F that puts the rootless chord in second inversion. All 12 keys are going to be one of those two either. So your job is to find the key you want, find the chord you want, and get it in this area of the piano, right? So root, D minor, G7. Now this time we went to a 3 chord. How did we get there? We found that E minor, and we found the 9, lost the root. Whoa, that's G major. That follows our rule. It goes Find the third of that chord, change minor to major. Wow, let's do that in F. G minor, C7. Now I want this. Well, how'd I get that? A minor 7 with a 9. Lose the root. What do I got? A C. Well, can't play that. That's outside of my sonic root, so I just drop it to second inversion. Okay, so I had A minor 7, 9 with a 9. Lose the root. It worked. It worked. A minor became C major 7. But that's outside of my sonic range, so I'm going to take these two notes and put them down here, and that gives me this. Okay? Now, your best friend on this kind of stuff, especially if you beginners are dipping in, this is in the deep end, is to use the rewind button or the comments below to ask questions. Raise your hand. Hey, I'm lost here. So we're in the key of F. The 2 chord is G minor, right? That chord. But my chord hand is thinking B flat major. Since it's in second inversion, I'm going to move my pinky. Now I want to go to the 3 chord. Well, that's an A minor. And then I'm going to go to this D7 sharp 5 sharp 9. And I'm going to run that around. Now, you do that long enough. You do your 2 5s long enough. You're going to be able to comp real songs. Let's see. Fly Me to the Moon. So first find the melody. I don't want to get into any copyright issues, so I'm not going to play the whole song. And the chord is a D minor. Oh, well, D minor is F major. So maybe I'll go. That A7 sharp 5 sharp 9 again. So instead of playing that D minor here, I just played the F major here, and I just let it all match up. I don't have to worry about colors or ninths or anything like that because it's kind of built in. It's baked in with these rootless voicings. You can stop thinking about, I got to add the ninth to this or that. Just remember these patterns. Now here it is. And want to do one more key? All right, fine. Let's do B flat. Okay, then I'm out. Put it in the comments. Please do all 12 keys. Please do it. Put it type. All 12 keys. No, I want you to be able to figure this out. Okay, so, all right, I'm going to give you, we did C, we did F, so let's do B flat. So the key of B flat is, so the 2 chord will be a C minor 9. Lose the root, what you got? You got an E flat major. Well, that doesn't work, but this does. That's right in my sonic range. But we're really, the bass player's got this. hear all that color? It's just delicious. Which finger is going to move? Because that E flat's in root position. What finger is going to move? It is not. I'm giving you clues. The 5 chord in B flat is an F major. Oh, well, it's going to be an F13. And the 1 chord is going to be... Should I go through how I came up with that? There's a B flat major 9. There's the root. You got a D minor. Well, get it in the sonic range. So I ended up with this. Sorry. There is the G7 sharp 5 sharp 9. Now you have, if you want, you learned it this way in my earlier series, but you can't play that. You could. Depends on your musical content. I keep saying you can't do it, but you want your comping chords here. In this range here, and this fits the bill. All it is an inversion of this. And if you, again, I'm being redundant, but if you went through my series, you already learned this chord. All you're doing is inverting it down here. So now we have 3 keys now. Now we have B flat. We have 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 1. Okay, throughout 3 keys, I hope you're just not memorizing voicings and writing them down. I wanted to tell you how I came up with this. So now we're in the key of B flat, my favorite key, matches my voice. So I need a 2 chord. Okay, so your job is to figure out the rootless voicing. Every last chord I was playing in my left hand was rootless, but you can still hear that 2-5-1 even without the bass player. And when the bass player comes in, let's see, and I'll do this, and then I think I've given you what you need. So now I'm going to bring in, now I know you can't see my virtual keyboard, but I only have so much real estate. So what I have here is Band in the Box highlighting the loop that I want to play, right? So I'm back to the key of C. I want to play a D minor 7, a G7, and a C major 7 for 2 bars. And I might play that C major 7 for 2 bars, but in this bar I might go to the 6th chord, okay? So I am going to kill the piano up here. I'm going to mute that. Maybe. Let it play. I'll just play over. So now I'm not going to hit play. For those of you who have Band in the Box, which I suggest you do, excellent practice tool. Unless you got a bunch of people that come over and play with you. I don't. So I'm going to go over here and hit this button up here. And it's going to say play and loop the highlighted regions, which is what I want to do. is clearly can be heard. Band in the Box is handling the bass player. I have to handle the harmony, and either I'm playing a song. Maybe I'm playing a song. Doesn't matter. Or I'm doing some improv work. Move that out of the way. So maybe a way to approach this is just get all your minor nines together, right? Just get all your minor nines together. So here's a D minor 9. Here's a G. And remember, these voicings are very similar to the ones we had in our right hand. So again, if this is really tripping you up, go through and do this. That's in my earlier. Now you want to transfer that voicing to this hand. So let's end with a review. Here's C minor. Figure that voicing. Does that work? Yeah, kind of. So if I was playing a C minor, I did it this way in my little improv with Band in the Box, but this would have worked too. Okay, so it's in that zone where you got two choices. That's in the sonic zone. So that's a C minor, but so is this. And it's kind of in there. I like this one better. Gives me more room to play on. Let's see. So you got E flat minor. In other words, get all your minors, and then you got a finger that's going to move. You get the idea. So I went through 3 keys. Now you want to work this out. Get a piece of pencil and paper out and work this out in all 12 keys, or at least in the keys you play in a lot. Now the next thing is to get out a song. Get out a song and see if you can do this. Right? There's Misty. Now usually when you're playing Misty solo, you're going to go something like this. Okay, well what's the first chord in Misty? E flat. What is the third of E flat? G. I'm going to make major, minor, right? And I'm going to get that in this sonic zone. So, bass players got that. Or I can play this. Sometimes you have two choices. That's in the sonic zone, that's a G minor, but so is this. Both of them kind of work. Let your ear guide you. So, go up here. So now I'm playing let's see, B flat minor. It would be this. Or this. I like this one better. So keep playing around with now songs until you can actually comp those songs. Get any chord you want, any chord you can think of into this area with just your left hand. That frees your right hand up to do its thing. All right, drop it in the comments, subscribe, drop it in the comments if this was helpful to you. Mike in Detroit, signing it off. Have fun practicing. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.